The small-town diner was always full of familiar faces, the soft clinking of coffee cups and murmurs of conversation creating a cozy backdrop. Yet among all the bustling regulars, one table always stood out to Emily: the corner booth. It was where a boy sat every day, alone, staring quietly out the window. He never spoke, rarely ate, and hardly smiled. His name was Jake. Emily, a kind-hearted waitress with a watchful eye, couldn't help but feel drawn to him. Jake looked about 10, with messy brown hair and eyes far older than his age. Most customers passed him by, assuming he was just shy or sulking. But Emily sensed something deeper, an invisible weight the boy carried silently. Each morning, she made it a point to bring him a hot chocolate, topped with extra whipped cream, just the way she imagined he might like it. "Good morning, Jake," she'd say softly as she placed it in front of him. "Take your time. I'm here if you need anything." Days turned into weeks, and Jake's routine never changed. He arrived after school, sat quietly, sipped his hot chocolate, then left without a word. But slowly, Emily began noticing subtle changes. A brief glance in her direction, a tiny nod when she asked if he wanted more whipped cream. Even once, the ghost of a smile when she shared a corny joke. These small moments were fragile, but they meant everything. One rainy afternoon, when the diner was unusually quiet, Emily slipped into the booth beside him. From her bag, she pulled out a coloring book and crayons. "Would you like to color with me?" she asked gently. Jake hesitated, then took a crayon and began to draw. It was the first time he had responded, not with words, but with trust. Over the following days, Emily continued her quiet efforts. A puzzle one day, a soft blanket the next, a book about animals she thought he'd enjoy. Bit by bit, Jake's world began to open up. Eventually, Emily learned what others hadn't bothered to ask. Jake's mother had passed away the year before, and his father, overwhelmed by grief and work, had grown distant. Jake had retreated into himself, left to navigate a silent storm alone. But Emily's steady kindness was a lighthouse in his fog. She never asked for explanations or demanded words. She just showed up, again and again, reminding him with every warm cup and gentle smile that someone still cared. Then, one day, it happened. Jake looked up at her and whispered, "Thank you." It was the first time she had ever heard his voice. Her heart swelled with hope. This was the beginning of something new, a slow return to life. From that day on, the diner felt different. Jake still came in, still quiet, but no longer alone. He shared pictures from his coloring books, pointed to his drawings with a glimmer in his eyes. The bond between them deepened, an unspoken promise that she would always be there. One sunny afternoon, the diner bell jingled and in walked a tall man in a sharp suit. His eyes scanned the room until they landed on Jake. Emily recognized him instantly. Mr. Carson, a well-known businessman from town. Stern and stoic, but now his face softened with emotion as he saw his son. Jake's eyes widened. He froze. "Jake," the man said, his voice low, "I've been looking for you." Jake didn't respond, but Emily placed a comforting hand on his. Mr. Carson turned to her, eyes filled with quiet remorse. "Thank you for looking after him. I've been buried in work. I didn't realize how far I'd let things go." Emily gave a small, reassuring smile. "He just needed someone to listen, someone to be there." Mr. Carson nodded. After a pause, he reached into his jacket and pulled out a card, handing it to her. "I'm expanding my company. I need someone with heart, someone like you. If you're interested, I'd like to offer you a position, one that could change everything." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. The offer was unexpected, life-changing. She had been barely scraping by, trying to support her own family while working long shifts. This was more than a job. It was hope. "I'd be honored," she whispered. Mr. Carson smiled. "And Jake? We'll work on this, together." Jake looked up at them both. "Thank you, Emily," he said again, louder this time. Emily blinked back tears. The once silent boy who had sat alone day after day was now surrounded by care, by connection. The diner returned to its usual rhythm, but something had shifted. For Jake, for Emily, and even for Mr. Carson, life had taken a new turn. It was no longer just about meals and routines. It was about healing, about second chances. And as the golden light of the setting sun streamed through the diner windows, Emily realized something profound. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever.